Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Globe Talks with Traders, where you can learn everything about the crypto trading. I'm the host, Starlight, and today I'm delighted to have Michael Valtos, the founder of the Orderflows Trading, watch to find out his thoughts and his insights about crypto trading. Let's jump into today's interview. Thank you, Michael, for coming to our podcast. And let's just go jump into the simple questions. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how did you start trading?
Yeah. I've always wanted to be, I think, a trader since I was a little kid. And, I grew up in Chicago area and they have the exchanges there. So, I always thought I'd sort of work my way down onto the exchange. And, after college, I just did that. I literally started at the bottom, making minimum wage, the lowest job you could have at the exchange just to sort of get my foot in the door and grew from there. I saw that electronic trading was starting to take off in the 90s. And so I left the trading floor for the firm I was working for and I worked up there on their electronic trading desk. And then, one thing just led to another and, bigger and better things. But it was just something that always fascinated me, as a kid. I would see, because I had friends whose parents were traders on the Board of Trade and the Mercantile Exchange, always driving around in nice cars. And I thought, hey, there's probably something to this trading thing, and honestly, it was great in terms of the hours back when the exchange was there. I mean, now like crypto is 24 hours, 7 days a week, whereas before the markets were just basically from 7 in the morning until about 2 in the afternoon. So you have your whole afternoon free, and I just thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Then when I left the trading floor to work on the electronic trading part of it, then I realized, oh no, you really got to work 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, except for Saturday and half a Sunday. But yeah, no, that's how I got started in it. I literally just wanted to get my foot in the door, and I started on the exchange floor at the bottom. It's changed. I mean, now you can't do that because there's no trading exchanges in that sense. I mean, you'd have to just basically open your own account, and trying to get a job at a trading firm, they want a certain background, right? They want, college degree with, honors in math and computer science and things like that. Whereas before, and, it was just a big melting pot where anyone could really get involved in trading and become very successful and make a lot of money. So, I make no qualms about it. That's why I got into trading, was for the money, but that's what's great about it. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing. When did you start crypto trading and which crypto assets class do you trade?
Yeah, I got into it not as a trader in crypto, actually. I started this after I left JP Morgan. I started a software company and I was processing payments through PayPal. And I started having problems with them. We need to validate your account. You're getting too much money, et cetera. We're going to hold all your money for, a month or something like that. I'm like, so that was around 2016 or so. And I started looking at alternative forms of payment, and obviously Bitcoin was, at that time, Bitcoin at that time was trading around $400 or something like that. It's amazing you look back on it now, but that's how I got into it, in more as a form of accepting payments. I kind of wish I just held every Bitcoin I ever received in that sense, rather than just, we would get them in and then we would just convert them. And then because for a while I was living in the Philippines after around 2015, 16. And my neighbor is also an American. He was an accountant and he was also accepting payments in crypto. Like he was getting ETH and stuff from people. And he's like, how do I convert this stuff? I mean, back then it's like, everyone talks about buying and holding, I mean, nowadays, but the people that like myself and people that I knew is like, we would just accept the payments and we would convert them. It's not as easy as it is nowadays. Back then it's like you literally sometimes had to like meet up people in person to to convert it. But I mean, now it's really grown, which is good. But that's how I got into crypto. And then, when that bull run in 2017, 2018 started happening, I started getting into, some of the other coins, Stellar and things like that. But it's not like something that I sort of woke up and had this great epiphany that, oh, crypto is the future, I'm just going to go all in on in that sense. I sort of backed into it as an alternate form of payment, which is, one of the reasons why crypto, was made, I guess, in a sense, to
Yeah.
process payments outside of traditional banking forms. So yeah, but yeah, that's how I sort of got into it. Like I said, I really wish I held everything instead of just converting it within a week or two. But yeah, who knew back then, if we all knew back then it would be we'd all be millionaires. But in that sense,
Yeah, that's true. Like if you know, like you can predict the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency, this kind of stuff, like probably it's gonna be billionaire or the you don't have to work it, like just enjoy your life, enjoy the
yeah, I
rest of
mean
your life.
that's the good thing about crypto and Bitcoin is it's really changed a lot of people's lives,
Yeah, that's true.
that are the true believers. But like myself, as a trader and a trader background, it's all about getting something, trading it, going, the constant buying and selling of things, as opposed to buying and sitting on it for years. I know people that buy Bitcoin and never sell it. It's like, how do you eat? Sometimes they're like, oh yeah, I want to buy something, but I'm like, okay, just sell a couple Bitcoin. No, I can't sell the Bitcoin. Okay. It's a different, there's different types of people that are involved in Bitcoin. And so it's just fascinating. I said, considering how young it is, I think there's, still a big potential. Who knows, 10 years from now, we'll look back and say 20,000. Oh, I should have bought more, you know?
In 2013, at the age of 44, you decided to leave JP Morgan and made a decision to trade for yourself. Can you tell us what was the biggest challenge to you at that time as a retail trader?
Yeah, no, the biggest challenge, especially coming from a firm like JP Morgan, is the information. When you work for a big bank or trading firm or hedge fund or something, everybody's calling you up. Oh, I got this information on this or that. Just trying to curry favor, so to speak. But when you're a retail trader, it's all, you're cut off from all that information. And it's because information is really what moves the market, right? I mean, people go to
Yeah.
jail for trading on insider information. That's how valuable information is. And that was the big thing. And of course, coming from a big firm with a lot of people to talk to trading for yourself, it's very lonely trading for yourself sometimes. You're in your little trading room, your home office, and you don't have someone to bounce ideas off of, or get opinions. I mean, yeah, you could go to the internet, but that can be a scary place to get opinions sometimes, because you don't know who you're getting your opinion from. But I mean, that was I think the biggest challenge is just sort of the lack of information flow, because I
Mhm.
mean, like it or not, the big firms, big trading firms, the banks do have information that's just not available to regular people, flows and things like that. Even though there's supposed to be Chinese walls, people do peek over sometimes, and things spill over from one side and that's why you see these firms paying billions of dollars in fines for market manipulation and such.
Yeah. What does a successful trading day look like?
Well, trading futures versus trading crypto, right? There's differences, because like when people trade crypto, right, you could buy and sell any amount you want, from $10 up to however many millions. Whereas um, futures, you're really trading a specific contract size, right? So if you're thinking in notional, like people will say they bought like one contract of gold, right? Because gold and Bitcoin are always being compared, but people don't think in terms of buying one Bitcoin, because obviously it's expensive. But when you're thinking, because there's that whole leverage factor that comes into play. Most people don't use leverage in crypto. Some people do, but
Mhm.
it's like if you trade. So if I say, I traded 20 contracts of gold, right? That would be, a couple $1 million worth of gold. Whereas if I'm trading Dogecoin or something like that, even if I'm using leverage of like 5 to 1 or something, it's the notional amount is much lower. So it varies in that sense. But like in terms of volume, in terms of trades, I could make up to 200, 250 trades a day in and out. I'm not looking to catch, the big runs. I'm just looking to catch, the movements. Think of it like surfing, right? You just catch, there's always waves coming in. You just want to catch a nice one and, and ride it for what you can. So, in terms of volume, I say I could be a pretty active trader at times, but it's just one of those things where it's hard to tell. You really need the market to really be moving. Nowadays markets move a lot better than they moved 6 years ago, 7 years ago. When previous administrations in office here in the United States, markets were pretty calm. Then obviously Trump took over, now Biden, and markets are kind of wacky in that sense, a lot of volatility.
As an experienced trader who has been trading for decades, how do you make predictions?
Well, I wish I had a crystal ball that I could look at. And, unfortunately, I don't. And it's like, for me, like the style that I trade is all about order flow. Orders coming into the market and trading and seeing what's happening right now in the market, I think is the best information that you can have. And you can see, is a market balanced or is it out of balance? And that's where the opportunities are to make money, is when a market is out of balance. I mean, like right now, Bitcoin's been trading around 20,000, 21,000 for days. Eventually it's going to start to move one way or the other. If it breaks, below into the 18,000 or into 22, 23, that's where the opportunity is going to arise. Whereas, now just sort of hanging around, going sideways, not doing much, it's going to be, it's difficult to make money. The sideways action, this is the thing that chops up a lot of traders, is they like get long. It looks like it's going up, and then yay, then it comes back down, then it goes lower, then they get out, they take a loss, and just repeat that over and over. I like markets that are moving, trending in a direction that's where the opportunities arise.
Yeah. The market is quite rational, and you can't just predict that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says, these people say, oh, the market's a random walk and things like that. And I'm like, well, things repeat themselves. I'm a bit of a pragmatic person. It's like, if I see something happen 10 times in a row, I think it's going to happen 11 and 12, right? I'm not going to say, well, it's happened 10 times in a row, it's not supposed to happen anymore, I got to bet against it. Those are the ones that always end up running into trouble in trading or in life, I think.
Can you share some like a trading strategy for those people who are not experienced but are enthusiastic, like just like me?
Yeah, it's
general.
People think sometimes trading is rocket science, but there is science to it, but it's not rocket science. It's like, I'm a big believer in keeping things as simple as possible, right? And I do run into a lot of people that will come to Mike, I found this way to make money in the market or something like that, but I don't want to share it with other people. I'm like, well, if nobody else knows that this is a good level to buy, then who else is going to buy and the market's going to go up? Right? Because you could have this perfect thing, but if there's nobody else sees that in the market, it's not going to happen. So the way I like to think of it is sort of trade like you're a little kid. Keep it simple, just follow price, follow what the big money is doing, right? Because the big money has the access to the information, right? And at the end of the day, it's the big money that's going to move the markets, right? It's not all the little retail traders piling into the markets. I mean, we did see that obviously with some of these Reddit traders, with AMC and GME. But, at the end of the day, it's the big guys, right? I mean, and think of it in terms of like, everyone watches what Elon Musk has to say about, certain cryptos, right? And they follow him. But Elon Musk is a big guy, right? And if you or I post something on Twitter, nobody's going to follow it, right? It's about following the money, follow where it's going in the market. Is it people buying and accumulating, or people distributing, people getting rid of everything? That's the clearest sign, in my opinion. Is just, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. Just follow what the smart people are doing in that sense. The ones with the money, I'll say smart people, the ones with the money. Okay. Because I know a lot of smart people that have a lot of money, and I know a lot of people that have a lot of money, but are kind of not smart, but they just sort of got lucky or something. But just, follow the money, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what moves the market is the buying and the selling, right? So, and again, people want to draw all sorts of lines on a chart. Spaghetti looks like a plate of spaghetti at the end of the day. It's just really about, this, as simple as it sounds, is price going up or is price going down? But is it going down on big buying, or is it just going up on sort of weak buying, sort of retail buying? And there are ways to see that in crypto, with the different charting platforms and all that. So yeah, I mean, that don't overcomplicate it, I guess, is the advice I would give to traders, right? I mean, everybody likes to make things more complicated than it is. But just keep it simple, right? Common sense will get you far in the trading world.
Yeah. So if for the like a beginner, how much you suggest them to?
Well, it really depends. I mean, everyone's different, right? Everyone comes from sort of different economic backgrounds, but at least to make it worthwhile, several $1,000s, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could put in a couple $100s into accounts nowadays, but at that point, it's just like fun money, like going into a casino, like, oh yeah, if I lose it, I lose it. But when you start getting higher up and more money, and then once you realize, I have to trade to make money, then you start being more serious about it. You want to find that level where you could take it serious, right? And where taking losses can, I'll say, affect your lifestyle, but affect you emotionally, psychologically, as opposed to, yeah, I lost $100, I don't care, like that. But then I do run into people that it's like a race against time sometimes. Like, oh, Mike, I lost my job, but I got, they paid me out $10,000. I got to start trading and make money. That's not a good situation to be in, right? I mean, you want to sort of be in, a good place mentally and financially, that, yeah, even if you do suffer some losses, it's not going to affect you. Then at the same time, people say, well, I don't have any money to trade. Well, as much as you don't like to hear it, get a job and make money,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew guys that worked in a grocery store while they were trading, just to get some money coming in, that they wouldn't be affected by, any market swings, so it's there are ways to do it if you don't have enough money. But again, you want to start with something decent that you could feel it, right? Losses. So because people say, well, I could paper trade, just make believe trades, but it's different. It's really different when money's on the line, and your stomach starts to get in knots and everything like that. So it just doesn't have to be like everything you own in the world. Some people do. I got friends, basically they take their entire net worth and put a quarter, 1/4 of it into a trade. And then they're like, after 3 trades, they're like, oh, I'm going to kill myself. But, it doesn't have to be like that, but just, make it so it's, it's a decent amount that you could feel the pain and feel the emotions. So then you take it serious, I think that's the big thing. Because
people have
at the end
to
of the
think
day,
about their
if you want to make it a career out of it, and you want to last a long time, you have to take it seriously.
Fair enough. You have worked with some of the largest traders in the world, and they entrust their orders to you for execution, like 5,000 ESH5 over the next 50 minutes. Could you please share more about this story in details?
Yeah, it's when I was working at these firms, it's big orders, go through the big firms, hedge funds, or even the banks, our prop trading desks, the desk I was working at. And, really having a big order, people don't realize how big some of these orders are that comes, or even central banks hold. And there comes a time where they're going to add to it or get out of it. And, so sometimes you're going to be like, somebody, they're getting out of a position, and it's like, thousands and thousands of contracts. Because, something like 5,000 E-minis, is like $500 million worth, notional of stocks. But you want to get it off as quickly as possible without moving the market. What that means is you sort of have to participate in all the trading that's going on, right? And we all like to sit, as an individual trader, we like to sort of pick our spots, right? But when you're holding a big trade that you have to execute, you have to start thinking, where can I get 500 off, or, 1,000? Like it'd just be like, well, if I had to, for example, if, Michael Saylor or something that, hey, he's got to buy, whatever, 5,000 Bitcoin. Okay. Because you just go in, the market's going to go nuts, right? Because once you start buying, word's going to spread, or, people are going to start seeing that activity, and then they're going to start buying. And the next thing you know, the market's moved 1%, right? So you want to sort of feed it in and not move the market, but you want to participate at the same time. So nowadays, there's actually firms have what they call execution algos, right? Which does all that dirty work for you. They time slice it, cut it up, buy one contract here, five there, et cetera. Really what you're looking for is participating at each price, because at the end of the day, once it starts moving, it can move pretty quick. And if you're not participating and being aggressive at times, next thing you know, it's like for that time period, say the average price, the VWAP is, whatever, 3,500, but you ended up buying everything at 3,505. That's terrible. Because you think about, wow, that's 5 points worse times 5,000 contracts, it's like a couple $1 million difference on, what you should have got. So it's just one of those things where it's like you have to be careful when you're moving big size. And, that's why I say, try and follow the money as a trader where the big money is coming in, because you can see that in the volume as us as retail traders. I mean, now with the computer technology and the information that's coming out from the exchanges, you could sort of keep track of that. So you know that, oh yeah, there was a big buyer here or there was a big seller. Like, for example, when you see Bitcoin keep going lower, 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 you could see where there's a lot of supply coming into the market, right? And, as a trader, when you're seeing supply coming into the market, obviously the market is probably going to keep dropping further, right? And it's one of those things where just follow the money. It's the
Final
best piece of advice.
Follow the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How do you navigate a bear market? What do you normally do to survive in a bear market, especially in this situation?
Well, if you can recognize that you're in a bear market or that it's starting, I think the traditional definition of a bear market is if it's like 20% off its high, but you don't have to wait for 20% off its high. You can go 15%, et cetera. But if you can recognize it, the earlier you can recognize it, the sooner you can, one, either go to cash, or go to a stable coin or something, or get short, right? But as a trader, we're always looking for, if the market is, if it is a bear market, you're selling it all on the way down. Or if you have a position on, you can sort of defend it by trading intraday, on the short side, because at the end of the day, you're long a massive amount, but you can still trade it from the short side. So even though you're not losing, in a sense, you're hedging that, but actively hedging. But at least now there's a lot of there's a lot of options, and there's even people doing swaps on everything. So there's ways to hedge it. If you think we're in a bear market, there's a lot of ways to protect yourself. Think of it as insurance, right? At the end of the year, you pay all your money into insurance, and you're still alive. That's kind of a good thing. I mean, you're still alive, even though you wasted all that money on the insurance. But you could still trade it on the short side. I know a lot of people think, with Bitcoin, it's just buy and hold, but at the same time, Bitcoin historically has 80% retracements, which is quite deep for a lot of people. You're playing with that in these markets, and obviously some of these crypto coins got wider retracements. So just be prepared to trade it from the short side as well. Right? I mean, you can always buy back in. All right. That's the thing. If you're wrong, okay, just buy back in. But in crypto, there's buy the dip, right? That's the mantra, buy the dip. Well, what happens when it keeps dipping, right? I mean, you have to be prepared for that. In my opinion, dollar cost averaging isn't a successful formula because things do go to zero. Right? Even stocks go to zero, right? And as we've seen, with Luna and stuff, basically it doesn't go to zero. It goes to like 0.00001568. They say, well, it's still worth something, but yeah, it's basically a bookkeeping entry at that point. But just be prepared to short it, right? If we're in a bear market, the only advice I could give, I mean, that's the only way you can trade a bear market is I think, if you're in a bear market, you shouldn't trade on the long side, right? You should be looking to get short. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Thanks for the suggestion.
It's not what a lot of people hear. That I can't sell my Bitcoin, I can't sell my crypto. Well, at some point you gotta turn mother's picture to the wall and get out.
So the final question is: do you have a prediction of next crypto bull markets, and where will be Bitcoin be in terms of price?
Well, yeah, I think it's a little early to tell when the next bull market is going to start, because I'm not sure we've really bottomed out yet. And I think the whole thing with Luna, I think it's shaken up a lot of, sort of weak hands. And I'm not sure if all the weak hands are really shaken out of the market yet. So it might still go lower before the next bull market starts. I mean, I do think there's once that big shakeout happens, I don't know, might happen this year or maybe even to next year. We could start to see the market turn around. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of new institutional players coming into the market that just weren't there a few years ago. But at the same time, when you have institutional players coming into the market, there's going to be more regulations, right? But they want to know their money's safe, right? They don't want, with three, what was that, the hedge fund in Singapore, 3AC, basically blowing up and stuff like that. It leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So I do think there will be some regulations coming in, just to reassure the bigger, institutional players that, hey, you know what, you're not going to lose $10 billion in crypto. That's the worst form of advertising out there. So I do think that once that sort of gets into place and people start feeling comfortable again, we could start to see a big run. But at the same time, when we were trading $60,000, a lot of these, the DeFi and all that stuff, they were still losing money at 60,000. We're at 20,000 now. So I don't know how that's going to affect them in terms of staying around, because I talked to friends that I used to work with, from banks and funds that are now in crypto. A lot of them are making that move, and they're kind of worried because these firms are spending so much money, but they have like very little revenue. I mean, the crypto bros that never experienced, market up and downs, like, on a regular basis, they don't care. They're spending money like it's 1999. But, so that's why I do think there's going to be a little bit of a reckoning coming sooner rather than later. But once that settles, yeah, I think Bitcoin can put in a nice move. So that's the difference between Bitcoin, and crypto traders as opposed to sort of traditional traders, is their outlook is much longer term, right? I mean, most, even traders at hedge fund, the macro outlook is 6 months, a year, whereas crypto traders is 5 years, 10 years. So I just waiting for that reckoning to happen. And then when it happens, that's the time to load up, I think, and then, take advantage of it. So where can it go? I mean, yeah, I don't think it's going to go to 1 million like a lot of people predict, but yeah, I could see, 6 figures easily. But I think some people are going to get spanked before that happens, ultimately. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I wish I could give you a prediction. Yeah, it's going to hit by the end of this year, December 31st. It's going to be trading 75,167. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way in reality of trading. Right? It's trying to predict that is very difficult.
Yeah,
I think we're ready for a bull market, but I think the bottom has to be put in first. I'm not sure this 20,000 area, we've been trading there for about several weeks, it seems. Something's happening, I can't put my finger on it, but it's scary in the sense that, it's just like something, things are teetering, all the stuff in the US with the Federal Reserve and, and everything going on in the Ukraine and all this stuff, that it's just one of those things where it's just like, why hasn't Bitcoin moved? Right. I mean, we got high inflation. Everyone says Bitcoin's supposed to be an inflation hedge. Yeah, it went up, a couple percent, but it should be much higher technically. Sometimes it feels like it's a proxy for the stock market. Yeah, I do think that it is promising, but I think it's early to call the bottom being in right now as a trader. I mean, that's just my 2 cents. People will throw stones at me. What do you mean the bottom's not in? You're an idiot. But, when I put my money where my mouth is, that's my opinion.
Thank you for sharing your opinion.
Yeah, I said, it's the reality of life. I mean, it's one of those things where that's what makes the markets, right? Difference of opinions. If everyone had the same opinion, Bitcoin would be trading $1 million right now because everyone would be super bullish. But unfortunately, not everyone has the same opinion. You got any spare money laying around, put it in Bitcoin. That's my advice to people. So how do I get involved in Bitcoin? Because there's still a big portion of people out there, and unfortunately, the only stories they hear are these firms blowing up, as opposed to like real uses. I mean, there's a lot of uses for it, but at the end of the day, we're still a bit away from it becoming the reality, of everyday life.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode. If you liked the content, please like, comment, and subscribe our channel as well. And thank you, Michael, for coming to our channel. And it's really nice to chat with you. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. If you would like to trade crypto, please don't forget to check out our Globe Exchange, where we offer a range of products from volatility trading to traditional spot and purchase market. Happy Globe trading!